This is Tariq McGilberry. This is social work 664. What I'm going to be doing is a role play with a friend of mine. She's going to be taking on the role of my client who has been dealing with stress and trouble dealing with her displacement from her home. She's a displaced refugee, and we're going to go into what types of conditions and disorders may come about from that type of situation. One of the disorder is post-traumatic stress from seeing different war-torn activities go on during the occupation of her home. And another is separation anxiety, brought about because during these types of occupations, people get separated from their families, and people become afraid that the circumstances will cause them to be separated from the family that they still are in contact with. So we are going to begin the role play now, and I hope you enjoy. Thank you. Hi, Miss James. I know we spoke on the phone and you gave me a little bit of background in the why you wanted to seek counseling. Why don't you give me a little brief overview again of why you're here?
Well, as I told you on the phone, I've been experiencing a little trouble lately. I recently moved to this country from my homeland, where my family and I left. There was a very uprising, and rebels overthrew the government. They have been fighting in the country since I was a small child. The rebels were finally able to overthrow the government, and that put the family in danger. Since I was a child, I've watched both sides brutalized and lost a lot of loved ones. My brother was killed by the rebels, and my uncle and father was captured. While my father was in captivity, he was tortured and he lost sight. I've had several friends raped and beaten, and I've come close to getting kidnapped a number of times. It was. I was barely able to escape each time. My entire family, my entire life, I've lived in fear, and now that the rebels are in control, I'm even more scared. If I had to return home, well, if I had to return home, I may be killed or in captivity.
Wow.
Simply because of my beliefs. Lately, I've been having nightmares of seeing my family members killed. I've been thinking a lot about being forced to go back home, and I've been terrified about the rest of my family about the rest of my family back home. I still have my son and nephew back at home, and my nephew is a member of the president's army. I can't stop thinking of my daughter and my son that are here with me and that will be sent home by the government. It was so bad that I'm scared every time they leave my side. The only time I don't have nightmares is when I am up all night thinking about what might happen. Sometimes my paranoia gets so bad that the only thing that helps is drinking alcohol. But then I end up getting extremely angry about at my children. It seems like things are getting worse and worse, and I'm more afraid. The slightest thing can send me into a spiral out of control. If I could hear a loud noise or see a shadow and my emotions go overload, I always think we're being watched, and I think that everyone comes near us is a threat. I have no clue what to do.
I'm sorry to hear that. Ms. James, first of all, I want to say I'm extremely sorry for everything you had to go through and everything you had to endure and face. I know it's a trying time in your life. You've been through a lot. Uh, you've seen a lot. You've witnessed loved ones and uh, family members and situations that nobody should have to see people go through, especially a loved one. Like, you don't want to see strangers go through some situations, let alone see somebody you really have an attachment to. Get what I'm saying? When I hear what you've been through, it sounds to me that you're experiencing symptoms of not only post-traumatic stress, but also a condition. Well, with the post-traumatic stress, it's caused by the conditions in your homeland and witnessing the various trauma that went on in your country. You get what I'm saying? The rapes, beating, brutality. But also, from what you've been telling me, it seems that you might be experiencing symptoms of what is called separation anxiety disorder. I know you might be a little bit familiar with post-traumatic stress. Not too many people seem to be familiar with the latter, the separation anxiety. So what that is it's caused because of your various losses and threat to the family members that you have, of losing the family members, the loved ones, the different things. Get what I'm saying? Trauma exposure increases the likelihood that an individual will suffer from separation anxiety. Because of that likelihood, individuals are at greater risk to develop both separation anxiety as well as PTSD, post-traumatic stress. Some of the highest rates of these disorders are among war-torn areas that produce displaced refugees such as yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because of the circumstances that most displaced refugees find themselves in, they are at highest risk for developing symptoms of post-traumatic stress and separation anxiety. This is because many refugees, such as yourself, are witness to horrible violence and violent violations of humans' basic right, of every human's basic right. You get what I'm saying? Many refugees witness rapes, like I said, murder, assaults, oppression, and other threats to themselves and their loved ones, as you know, as you've been through. You mentioned you've experienced different things. You witnessed catastrophic events in these conditions, and that can often lead to post-traumatic stress. In addition to these symptoms, the estrangement of loved ones and the burden of wondering if you'll ever see them again can exacerbate and compound symptoms of separation anxiety. Get what I'm saying? Following on. And in these instances, family members are torn apart and segregated because of conditions in the country they are trying to escape. Does this sound familiar to you, Ms. James?
Yes.
Displacement can result in an individual being forced from the comfort of their home or native land, where they are surrounded by their family and loved ones, and at times relocated to deplorable areas. You know, luckily you were able to move to this country, and you've been able to seek treatment, and you have different resources. And just like in your case, individuals are in constant fear of the events that happen in your homeland being repeated or never coming in contact with loved ones again. You get what I'm saying? And just like yourself, many individuals may also experience separation anxiety over the thought of never being able to return to their home, or their homeland or country of origin, for fear of persecution. Like you said when you were telling me the background, that you feel like if you go back, you might be taken into captivity after the people overthrew the government, right?
Yes.
For many, this is the only place they've known, and after being displaced, some may never be able to recover or even come to terms with the losses they've experienced. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
These individuals may go from living an average life to living in uninhabitable situations where there's no health care, there's no clean water, there's no food, or no way to financially improve their situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might come into a situation, like I said, luckily you've been able to come to this country. But in some situations that really aggravate these type of symptoms, people might be in shanties or shacks, or you've been in places where they can't really get the treatment and stuff that they need. Individuals may end up in overpopulated, under-resourced camps. They may end up in areas that cause a culture shock. Even worse, these individuals may end up in areas where they are unable to find safe housing and end up homeless in an unfamiliar country. Get what I'm saying? Threats to social stability are undermined as mass conflict, displacement, and resettling include safety and security, the integrity of bonds and networks, access to justice from past human rights violations, the ability to maintain and reestablish identities and roles, and the capacity to achieve existential meaning. When these individuals move from their homelands to new territories, they run the risk of surrendering their identity. They have to struggle with losing their culture and traditions as they learn to adapt to new situations. Just like you said, like you came here and you feel like your cultural beliefs and stuff might not be accepted here, and in your homeland, the people that overthrew your government might persecute you because of your beliefs and stuff. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Beliefs they practice at home may not be accepted in the areas where they settle in. These fears also affect individuals' feelings of loss and security and safety, and they may never truly be able to restore their sense of comfort. So you get how that affects these conditions, these various conditions.
Yeah.
In some instances, refugees are in foreign countries with no rights and or means to earn an income. They are unable to secure government funded assistance because they're not legal citizens of the foreign country. And like in certain situations, they might go in the new countries, the new areas, and they might not be able to seek asylum. They might not be welcome in these countries, even though they desperately need to get out of the situations they're in. Get what I'm saying? They have little opportunity to support themselves or to better their circumstances. Individuals with kids and elderly may end up watching them suffer or even die without the proper medical assistance or treatment or attention. Get what I'm saying? Which may add to their distress because, like, you're seeing your loved one go through whatever condition they might come down with. They might come down with cancer. They might be a kid might hurt themselves. Like, what if your kid hurts himself and breaks his leg, falls, as you're in this inhabitable area, but this is the only place you can go to escape, and he falls down a hill and breaks his leg or has a hole go through his leg. Now, how do you seek treatment if you're in a foreign land and they want insurance or something? You know what I'm saying? So now you're in a situation where you not only have a hurt child, you can't get treatment for the child. Or if you have an elderly parent, say you have an elderly parent and they come down with diabetes, how are you going to get insulin for that parent? How are you going to get treatment for that parent? You get what I'm saying? So this adds stress. It adds stress, and then with that adds to the traumatic experience. Excuse me. And it also adds to the fear of losing another loved one. You get what I'm saying? Children may end up uneducated or disadvantaged because of the lack of education and opportunities in the area you settle in some instances. These children may remain uneducated until conditions in their homeland improve or they're able to access foreign country resources. In some situations, that never happens. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Many refugees experience symptoms of separation anxiety disorder. Please let me know if any of these sound familiar to you or sound familiar to your situation and what you're going through. Okay? If you've been affected by these in any way, you just let me know. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. So the first thing I would ask is how your stress level, stress and anticipation of separation with a loved one. Have you been faced with that?
Yes.
Okay. What about worrying about losing attached figures?
Yes,
What about reluctant to venture off because of fear of separation?
yes,
Okay. What about nightmares and physical complaints linked to the anxiety about separation, loss, or harm befalling other close others?
yes,
All right, man. All right. So we've went through those. Those are basically the symptoms of separation anxiety, and it seems like from all of those symptoms, you indicated that you really, and this is something that you've been dealing with. So now I want to take a look at the symptoms of post-traumatic stress. I'm gonna do the same thing to ask uh, the different symptoms, and then you give me an indication: is this something you've experienced, or you went through, or no, you have? You know what I'm saying?
yes,
All right. Intrusive traumatic memories,
yes,
distressing dreams.
yes.
What about flashbacks?
I'm not sure about that. I think about home and family a lot.
Mm-hmm. What about psychophysiological reactions to trigger?
Yeah, I think so. When I hear a loud sound, my heart starts to beat faster. I break out into sweats. I get extremely nervous.
All right. What about avoidance of traumatic reminders?
Yes,
Okay. What about startle responses? How do you feel about that?
yes, I get scared very easily. Like I said, I can get very paranoid. I think everybody is out to get me and my family.
What about hypervigilance?
Yes.
Insomnia?
Yes, because of my nightmares, I spend many nights awake just worrying about what will happen to me and my family.
I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. Unfortunately. What about irritability?
When I'm drinking, I get very upset and irritable.
Okay, I can see how the drinking can affect your anger and basically your impulses. What about negative perceptions of others or self?
Yes, since arriving, I really don't trust anybody, especially being in unfamiliar land with people I don't know.
You know, I can see how that, especially from the situation you come from, I see how that can affect your sense of comfort and trust. Hopefully, we'll work on that in future sessions. Consistent, consistent suspicion of authority.
Yes, I feel that everyone is a threat to my family, and any time someone can make us go back to our country.
Okay. What about impulse control or destructive behaviors?
No, I don't think so. Besides the alcohol, I don't really think that I've been too self-destructive or destructive to others.
Okay. What about substance abuse? You mentioned the alcohol. Uh,
Yes, as I told you, I've been drinking to help calm my nerves.
think it helps? You think the alcohol helps?
It does.
Because you think that you don't ever think that that might compound your stress. And,
It relieves. It relieves it for the moment.
well, Miss James, the bad news is that it definitely seems like you've been suffering from both post-traumatic stress and separation anxiety disorder. The good news, on the other hand, is that these are conditions that are common and treatable.
Oh, really? I'm so glad to hear that. All this time, I couldn't figure out what was wrong or what I was going through. But you say that you have a treatment? Really? What is it?
Well, Ms. James, there's two different interventions that have been proven to be effective in PTSD and separation anxiety disorder. The two are the cognitive process therapy and prolonged exposure therapy. Medicine can also be effective, but that's usually in combination with the two treatments I just suggested, the two interventions. Get what I'm saying? So with the cognitive process therapy, it's a form of cognitive behavioral therapy. Are you familiar with cognitive behavioral therapy?
Yes.
Yeah. So what that is it helps individuals restructure their negative, unrealistic thoughts, views, and beliefs with more adaptive, realistic viewpoints. You get me?
Yes.
This is accomplished by training yourself to challenge and modify disruptive thoughts, patterns, and reshaping the reshaping and reconceptualizing these negative beliefs. This then allows the individual to view the traumatic event from a different standpoint. Does that sound like something you'd be interested in trying during our time in therapy?
Sure, I can be
Uh, this is also geared toward helping individuals experiencing uh, post-traumatic stress and face their fears and begin to regain their lives. And along with that, prolonged exposure therapy also helps with that. Many individuals who are symptomatically often try to avoid situations that can trigger their unwanted responses to stimulation. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So with prolonged exposure therapy teaches individuals to become more confident and regain trust in situations that they will find threatening while symptomatic. This intervention helps individuals assess risky situations and react appropriately in situations that they usually deem unsafe and free, so that after you experience these things and learn to assess uh, different situations, you'll be able to deem different situations either safe or free from threat. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The principle behind the therapy is that the brain associates even events with things connected to the. So what that means, Miss James, is the brain may associate things like a barbecue grill or the smell of barbecue with memories of childhood family barbecue. You get what I'm saying? So every time you smell barbecue baked beans or every time you smell like a hamburger on the grill, you might remember your favorite uncle. You might remember your favorite aunt. You might remember and even see your favorite aunt's laugh. You might remember hearing the sound of your favorite aunt's laugh. You get what I'm saying? I'm sorry. And the brain then associates that with certain things, with the connection. And another example may be the brain may associate a certain perfume with, I'm sorry, with the memory of a past loved one. But with the trauma response, the brain works the same way, but instead of associating the thing uh, connected to the event with a pleasant memory, it associates the event with a traumatic one. So if an individual that experienced a traumatic event will be reforced to live the event each time they encounter the stimuli. You know what I'm saying? For instance, a dog barking may trigger a traumatic memory of being viciously bitten as a child. You know what I'm saying? Or the smell of somebody's cologne may trigger a traumatic memory of being sexually assaulted. Remember? You get what I'm saying? So, prolonged exposure therapy expose tries to expose individuals to things that trigger their memory, but tries to replace the association with positive or non-threatening events and situations. You get what I'm saying? And do these therapies seem like something you're interested in and want to be a part of?
Well, like I said, I would like people to try and see if that.
And do you understand how somebody can come down with these type of symptoms or conditions as far as post-traumatic stress or separation anxiety?
Yes.
Do you feel that these conditions are something that connect to what you've been going through?
Yes.
So through the next several weeks or months or however long it takes, I'll be trying to work with you on these various interventions and try to improve your well-being and state of life. Okay? Thank you. That's our presentation. Thank you.